having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porchlight That Is podcast number 2543. Today we are looking at the question, where was your family when they graduated from school? Yeah. In fact, even think to your own graduation as well. What was that like? So graduating from school is one of those milestones that marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. For many families, graduation was a day of celebration and pride. It represented years of hard work, encouragement, and perseverance. Whether it was primary school, secondary school, university, or a trade qualification, receiving that certificate or diploma was a moment to remember. Behind every graduation is a story. Some students walked across stage with clear plans for the future, while others were still deciding what came next. Some were the first in their family to graduate. Others balanced school with work and family responsibilities or difficult circumstances. Every journey was different, but every achievement was worth celebrating. Graduation often became a gathering of generations. Parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, and friends came together to share in the excitement. There were proud smiles, photographs in caps and gowns, flowers, handshakes, and the hope of new opportunities were just around the corner. These moments became part of a family's story. Years later, a graduation photo tucked into an album can bring back memories of favorite teachers, lifelong friends, and dreams for the future. It reminds us that education isn't only about what we learn in the classroom, it's also about the people who encouraged us along the way. Yes, I love graduations. I love hearing the stories behind them. Even my own graduate, I did not graduate high school. Well, put it this way, 30 years ago when I was in New Zealand, we did not have high school graduation. You had prize, what was it, awards day, prize giving day. And at the prize giving, people were given awards for top in mathematics, top in science, top in English, top in different topics. I got at the end of my second to last year, my last full year of school at the prize giving, I got given the Senior Librarians Award for being a school librarian. Did I get any others? I don't think I got any others. But there were those that were top in mathematics, top in English, and all of that sort of stuff. And they got some really cool prizes. It wasn't just a certificate. They actually got gifts to go with them as well. And I guess you could consider that our graduation, but it wasn't. We weren't just giving prizes to those in the final year of school. They were given to other grades as well. I'm trying to think of the thing, because now they do. We used to do primers. What do we used to do? Yeah, there was primers, standards, and forms is what we used to be our years. And intermediate or middle school, you'd start at Form 1 and do Form 2. Then you'd go to high school and you'd be Form 3 through Form 7. Now they do years. So the final year of school, which would have been my final year of school, would have been year 13. And I left during that year. You can leave it after the age of 16, you can actually leave anytime you want, leave school anytime you want. You don't have to do any of the national certificates, exams, but they do help if you do them. So I didn't graduate from high school. I just went into school on a Friday with my piece of paper. I'd already told the school I was leaving because I'd gotten the letter on Tuesday that I was to be on a bus on Sunday, that following Sunday, to head off to the Air Force for my recruit course, boot camp, whatever you want to call it. And so I just I still went into school on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday and Thursday, I was still doing schoolwork. Friday, I was walking around saying goodbye to people, handing textbooks in, getting teachers to sign off on things. I had a sign-out form I had to do where the teachers had to sign off that you'd returned all textbooks and assignments and blah, 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 blah. That was my graduation. It wasn't until years later when I was here in the States that I went back to school, and I went back to Northern Virginia Community College, and I got my associate degrees, associate in applied sciences in hospitality management, hotel management, and restaurant management. There was just a difference between two classes this one here is required, but it's not required on these two, so let's put it as an elective in that one. This one's required over here, but not over there, so we'll put that as an elective. It was basically just doing that. But I did all my classes and passed. I was very proud of myself for that. And we had a graduation ceremony. So I actually finished the classes my graduation ceremony was in 2000, and it was at George Mason University, and I was in my cap and gown, and I had my what society did I belong? It was an honor. I was part of one of the honor societies for. Damn it! I can see it in my head, but I can't think of its name. Dang it! I came across my pin for it the other day too. And I was president of the chapter that was at the Northern Virginia Community College as well. Yeah, so and I know the first word was Phi. It was Phi Theta Kappa. I don't think that sounds right. I should have looked it up beforehand. And so I had my cords and bands on for all of that as well. And I've been on the dean list 2 years in a row. So I'm actually, and I said to my parents, I says, my name is now officially in the Library of Congress in the US. And they're like, how? I said, I'm in this book. And I actually got the book for the first year. I didn't for the second year, but it was the National Dean's List. And I was in there in that one and in there for the second year as well. But I didn't get the second year one, just got the first year one. So it's amazing what you come across and all of that with graduation. And then I got to experience a US high school graduation. When my oldest stepson graduated high school, we went along there and we're in this, I think we're in a gymnasium. Where were we? We were not at his high school. Where were we at the high school? All I know is that we're sitting up there, and we're sitting up in the stands or some sort of gymnasium or something, because we're on tiered seats. And on the floor, there were all of these chairs. There were over 600 kids in the graduating class. Get this, there are 600 kids in the graduating class. I'm sitting there, I'm like mind blowing. And I turned to Brad and I said, how many kids are graduating? And he told me the exact number. It was 600 and something. And I said, do you realize that there are more kids in this graduating class than there was in my entire high school? My high school was 600 kids. That's how many we had attending when I was my last year at school. There were 600 kids in the school. And I said, there is more kids graduate in the graduating class than there was in my entire high school. That blew my mind. And now I understand. And it was very interesting and very overwhelming at times. As it just sit through, 600 kids being school. And all I could get through is like, my entire high school wouldn't even fill those seats down there. But it was just it was so different. And I have to say, in my 29 years in America, I got to experience a lot of things that I would not have experienced in New Zealand. Things like high school graduations was one of them. Thursday night or Friday night football games. Absolutely loved going on watching those. I will tell you this, I love high school games. Love watching the high school games, being in the stands, watching the kids play and that sort of stuff. Then going home. And I did enjoy sitting with Brad when the college football was on. Professional football, I could take it or leave it. Super Bowl, I was more interested in the commercials than I was in the game. Although the last one that I watched, which was Super Bowl in 2018, I did not care who was playing. All I wanted to see was a really good game. I did not want to see one team dominate the other. I just wanted a good, balanced game with good plays and all of that sort of stuff and sneaky scoring, and just wanted to see a really good game because I was watching it as a tribute to Brad, because he loved his football. Around what time frame was that? Around September, October, I became when do they start playing again? August, September, somewhere around there where they start playing again. When they have the college football and then the professional football. And so from Thursday through Sunday, Monday night, from Thursday through to Monday, I was a football widow, as my husband would sit there and just watch game after game after game. And I remember, look, we've got to go out and do that. And he goes, okay. He says, the game's almost over. I said, how long is left? And he go, 5 minutes. I said, so in other words, we're not going to be out of here within the next 20 to 30 minutes. He's like, yeah, whatever. I know it's all commercials and all of that, but when you watch games here, when you watch rugby in New Zealand, you watch the game. It is 90 minutes, 40 minutes each way with a 10-minute halftime. And 40 minutes, it's 40 minutes each way, 10-minute halftime. And they basically have no ads when the game is being played. No ads when the game is being played. On cricket, they may put ads in at the end of an over when they're switching ends and everything else, but that's a whole nother game. That's what I've been watching. I got to watch cricket when I was back here. It was the women's cricket. It was really cool. I had not seen the New Zealand women's cricket team play, and that was cool. But yeah, so I watched that as part of But, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I got to see and do in America that I would never get to see and do in New Zealand. And so that was eye-opening, watching a high school graduation. Years later, and then a few years later, we got to go to a college graduation, which was even crazier, with the number of, and they had too many students, to do all the graduations at once. So they were sort of like, here's the main graduation ceremony, but we're not having, you know, and I think they did those that got doctorates or something. I think they did those at that one. We never went to one. And then they had, over the next few days, different times that they were doing graduations based on the degree, on the school that degree was part of, because they'd have the university into schools. And yeah, that was interesting. That's all I can say. That was just crazy. And then at Brandon's one, the graduates got together and put on their own graduation party afterwards. That was hilarious. Had never seen anything like it. And I was in the Royal New Zealand Air Force, and we did some crazy stuff in there. You got to see some crazy stuff there, but this was nothing like I had ever seen before. I'd never seen a keg stand before. Never seen that done before. And I was just like, it was nuts. But the kids were responsible for setup, breakdown, cleanup, and all of that sort of stuff, providing all the drinks and the food and all of that sort of thing. It was their own party that they put on, and they're responsible for putting it on for the families and the parents and the kids and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of different graduation stories, a lot of different types of graduations. I know at some, and I saw it because there are a lot of tears at some, where people were so proud that their son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, whatever, whoever it was, had actually graduated. There were a lot of hugs, a lot of tears. You know, some of them were just sort of like, oh, yeah, we graduated, and have some photos, da-da-da-da. But there were some families there where it was highly, highly emotional that they had graduated. And there were all sorts of different reasons for the emotions. You know, a parent may have just passed, or the struggle the student had gone through to graduate based on their living circumstances. And what the family had come together to help get them through school. And, you know, so it wasn't just the student that was graduating, it was the family that was graduating, because they had been there every step of the way with the student, helping them as much as they could, to pay tuition, emotional support, all of that sort of thing. And that was just really, really cool to see. So what is your graduation story? What are your did your grandparents graduate school? What was their graduation like? But, you know, the task. We've got a task. We always have a task for you. So your challenge today is to ask a family member about the day they graduated from school. What year was it? Who was there to celebrate with them? What were their hopes for the future? Do they still have their graduation photograph, certificate, and program? Yes, I do. In fact, I think I found Brandon's and Christopher's and Josh's programs as well. Record their story today, because every graduation marks the beginning of a new chapter in your family's history. And let us know in the comments below some of the stories that you discover. And with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hei konera. Oh, actually, I might be late tomorrow. I got the day off tomorrow, so it might be 7. Depends how quickly I get my errands done in town tomorrow. But have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. Hei konera.